communications technology. We have a digital divide here in Austin. Per a 2014 residential technology study that was developed by UT in partnership with the City of Austin, we have over 55,000 adult Austinites without home internet access or a home computer. And that is really at the root of the most hard to engage with or to connect most underserved populations. We traditionally see that those folks are in the eastern crescent of our community, and that is something that we continue to solve for because the role of the City of Austin is to really coordinate, convene, collaborate, and hold the center with all of our community organizations so that we can continue to partner and really help bring about equal opportunity to all residents to provide a good quality of life. So this effort also represents what that coordination collaboration is for the City of Austin. This is an example of what the city is intending to solve for when implementing towards smart cities and being able to ensure and provide for opportunities that we are able to demonstrate the intended capabilities behind gigabit speed applications and what that means and how it can benefit all of our residents and the cool opportunities that are coming from that. So tonight we are here to see what those applications have to offer, and they will be here to be reviewed by our committee. So we have David Walsh with US Ignite. As they're getting set up, they're getting connected with some sort of technology here. Sarah Sharif with Experimental Civics. Stephen Elkins, my second boss with Communications Technology Management Department of the City of Austin. Vicky Garza with Latinitas. And Scott Turnbull with US Ignite. So we have some sponsors that of course we need to recognize tonight because without them we would not have any funding to help support this. Of course, we have US Ignite Smart Gigabit Communities, which has been the implementation funder for this. It's been a culmination of a project that has been in the works for over a year, really, with being able to support community engagement, being able to lead a steering committee to help provide inputs and diversity of guidance with regard to the considerations that need to be achieved towards. And that is something that the City of Austin has been committed to as a sponsor as well. We have Mozilla as a sponsor. Do we have anybody from Mozilla here tonight? Robert Friedman, just give a nod to him, has been a strong collaborator with a lot of this work. We have ATX Hack for Change. Do we have any reference? Sarah Sharif is here. Of course, we're in multiple hats, Sarah. The Center for Transportation Research. Do we have any representatives from there tonight? We've got a kind of hand raised. Thank you so much. Capital Factory, of course. And I know you're all here. The BSTEM project. Any folks from the BSTEM project? Okay, and then Austin Technology Alliance. Yes, David's just here. All right, our first speaker. I should note tonight is going to move fast. So unlike government, we're going to move really fast and keep this really hyper and be something that has really a lightning style cadence to our schedule. So this will be new territory for me, but this is going to be really good for what the spirit of the event. So our first speaker, Fred Schmidt, Director of International Affairs with Capital Factory. Fred, my man, here you go. So you're going to kick it off.
Howdy, everybody. How are you doing tonight? Good to be here. Good to have you here. So I am here to welcome you on behalf of Josh Baer, who is the founder and director of Capital Factory. He unfortunately could not be here this evening, but we all tag team on these kinds of events. So we do 1,000 events here at Capital Factory. We try to engage really at a community level. One of our most important functions here is to be a community center for entrepreneurship and for the technology industry in this city. We have 60,000 square feet of space in this building on 3 floors. We started at the top of this building, where we still are, kind of the penthouse of entrepreneurship on the 16th floor. Then we took over the whole 5th floor, and then a few months ago we took over the whole ground floor, and we're working our way through the whole building, and then the hotel over there. So in this space, we have 7, in our overall functionality here, we have 7 event spaces. We are the home of the ATX Startup Crawl during South by Southwest. That will also be happening during Austin Startup Week, which happens between the 2 weeks of Austin City Limits Music Festival in October. And so we, on any given night of the week, if you go to our website and you look under events, you will find, 3 to 7 different events happening in this space at any given moment. Last night we had a FinTech meetup in here, only the 4th FinTech meetup of the volunteer FinTech group here in Austin, had 300 people in here. So there's a need and a desire for this kind of interaction in this city, and we try to be the center of entrepreneurship for that conversation, center of gravity for it. So in addition to doing community events, we are also by function an incubator, an accelerator, and an investment fund. In fact, we're the largest such facility in the state of Texas, and one of the 8 largest in the United States. So we're right up there with Y Combinator, 500 Startups, and others that you hear about. And we do a lot of exchanges between our entrepreneurs as they go through our accelerator program, get funded by us, start getting traction out in the marketplace. They go and do the 500 Startups program in San Francisco to also network into all the mentors and the strategic partners and the whole investor community there in the Bay Area, and vice versa. We have people going in both directions. And then, of course, in my capacity as head of international, I'm constantly working with companies that are scaling from countries all over the world. The first place they want to come to after they get some momentum in their home country is to the United States of America. Because we are the largest homogenous market and the most prosperous still on the face of the earth, they all want to come here. So we help catch them before they make the mistake of going and setting up their U.S. operations in New York or in San Francisco or somewhere else where it's like way more costly, way less friendly, and way harder to survive and to find traction. So we try to intercept them, give them all the reasons why when they grow to be a 500-person operation, they really want to have 490 of those people in Texas with their headquarters and their operation, and 5 people in a biz dev office in San Francisco or New York, rather than the other way around. And so we've had great success and a lot of companies coming in that we can help get them settled, be their first best friend. I've got 2 of them in right now from South Africa that are expanding here into Austin, one from Australia that was in today that wants to join up. So we've got a lot of people coming this way. But the other interesting thing is, and I know a few of the entrepreneurs like Joe over there, who are some of our great companies that are growing and scaling very rapidly in our community. When you're in software as a service, as soon as you go live on the internet, you are instantly global. People can access your product anywhere in the world. And for our entrepreneurs, the challenge is, because we're a monocultural, monolinguistic country, most of our entrepreneurs have no idea where the rest of the world is, don't have a passport, have never been out of the country. So we have to, as I say, tenderize them to global affairs and prepare them for success overseas, because sometimes you can find your first best customers on the other side of the world, which gets you traction, starts getting you revenue, starts letting you be successful before you ever even find great market connectivity here. And that really helps you when you go to raise money. If you've got revenue, suddenly you are in control of the deal when you're sitting there with a term sheet and an investor across the table, because you've got customers. It doesn't matter if they're on the other side of the world. They're sending you money. You've got customers. You're in business. You're for real. So anyway, so that's my little spiel, just kind of giving you an idea of what we do here at Capital Factory every single day. It's a lot of fun. We have 700 companies in our ecosystem, thousands of entrepreneurs. So we've invested in over 200 companies ever since Austin Ventures kind of went away in this town and kind of deconstructed into a bunch of other different investment vehicles. We are now the largest investment fund in the state of Texas, not in dollar size and dollar volume, but in deal flow. The number of deals each year that we invest in, we have been for the last 3 years, because we believe in our companies and want to help them grow. So hopefully tonight, some of you may become some of those successful candidates. We're very excited to have you here to host this in our facility. And we think the work that you guys are doing is just awesome, because cities really are the future. You know, as you may notice in our country and other places around the world right now, we're a little confused nationally and are in a period of inward looking and isolationism. But cities are where the rubber hits the road, and the mayors are really the ones. They have now got their own network of mayors around the world, and they're just saying, we don't care what else is going on out there. We're all going to continue to move the ball forward, make our cities smarter, solve problems in our communities. And so I'm real keen myself to hear what your various pitches are, because the stuff you're working on is the future. So with that, again, welcome. Thank you for being here this evening. Looking forward to a great evening. Back over to you, John, for the next speaker.
All right, thank you, Fred. Our next speaker is Scott Turnbull, the National Technical Lead with US Ignite, and he is our inspiration speaker.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always great to come to Austin. Every time I come here, I love the energy that I encounter in the community. And with US Ignite, we work with a cadre of 20 cities, both in the US and in Australia. We have one city in Australia. And they all have a commonality between them. They have an entrepreneurial spirit, but they also have a vision for where the country is going to go and how we can leverage gigabit networks in a way that can increase the economy. Things that current networks can't handle, we could provide much better services and transformative benefit to the community if we had a better network and we could build innovative applications that work on top of it. And one of the things I love about my job is talking to the entrepreneurs, talking to the innovators in the community, talking to the community leaders. And the characteristics of what we see emerging in all these cities is similar. When people talk about the new economy and where jobs are going to come from, this is where I see that happening. We've sort of commoditized as best we can the page load backed by maybe a data table, and we've gotten everything we're going to get out of that. Current technology, where the future of jobs is in technology that integrates into the community in some way that transforms people's lives and adds to their daily life in a way that they couldn't have before. So machines, the synergy is that machines are great at noticing things and poor at judgment. Humans are great at judgment, kind of bad at noticing things. So there's a synergy there between the two that can help bring workforces forward. So yes, we might have robots integrated into manufacturing or into public services, but they're going to be working with humans, not to replace them, but to expand the capacity for manufacturing. You're going to have smart educational systems that work with end users who might be across the world that engage teachers, that engage school administrators to develop curriculum in some meaningful way that provides them with jobs. So work with telemedicine professionals that can bring healthcare out from what had traditionally been large health centers out to rural areas almost seamlessly through the use of things like 4K video or low latency networks that engage health professionals in the community and engage caretakers in ways that keep people busy, keeps them employed, and it creates this churn in the economy that's going to benefit everybody. Now, the innovation that we see in each one of these cities reaches outside the bounds of the city, but is nested firmly in the ethos of each individual community. In Austin, that spirit to just do things and go forward and grab onto new technologies and think about different things in different ways has been readily apparent, as it has been in cities like Chattanooga, Tennessee, or Kansas City, which they call Silicon Prairie. And we see that in Austin as well. So getting Austin to be part of the SGC community has been tremendously energetic for us at US Ignite. Smart cities are adaptive to the people who live in them. They're not just structures anymore. They actually tailor themselves in some way to your individual lives. They provide access to you that you couldn't have had before. And we see Austin migrating towards that. So we're happy to be here. Thank you very much for the warm welcome that I've received today. And I look forward to seeing everybody's innovative projects as we go through the judgment. Thank you.
All right, So we've already introduced our judges, and we are actually going to begin the process to introduce those projects. And this is the first project of Austin Sol, a new community approach to solar. Scott Nunez's team. Short description of the project is that Austin Sol couples a local customer rewards program with free solar for low-income Austin families, and the focus is clean energy.
Alright, so I'm sitting over here to press the buttons, but I'm Scott Lynn, Executive Director of One Planet Sol. Now, it's been a sizzling summer, hasn't it? I think you guys, just like me, you don't even hesitate to crank up that AC during these really hot summer months. But I want to introduce you to Billy here. He's an 8-year-old kid that lives on the southeast side of Austin. Now, for Billy and his family, the decision to crank up that AC isn't so easy. Air conditioning uses a ton of electricity, and electricity rates are actually the highest in the summer months. And so for Billy and his family, it's a constant struggle month after month. Do I turn on the AC, or do I save that money for food, for school supplies, or in a medical emergency? Now, unfortunately, Billy isn't alone in having this problem. 10 million Texans are energy burdened. These low-income families spend up to 30% of their annual income on energy, compared to only 4% on average statewide. Now, solar could be a solution, but these systems still have a high upfront cost. And so the long-term economic benefits of solar have been inaccessible to these low-income families. And so the question is, how can we provide clean, affordable energy to the Austinites that need it the most? So our nonprofit, One Planet Sol, has teamed up with Austin Habitat for Humanity and the Texas Energy Poverty Research Institute to address this problem. The One Planet Sol team is a group of energy industry professionals, software developers, and UI and UX design experts. And our solution is the One Austin Sol community. Now, our approach is rather the conventional approach of solar, where you have a single homeowner putting solar on his own rooftop to offset his own electricity bills. We look at solar as a pillar for a much broader community-wide effort, where everyone within that community is able to financially benefit. So here's how it works. Austinites, you guys, you join this community with a membership, and not only able to support the social and environmental cause, you'll receive discounts on purchases made at member businesses. These member businesses are able to build and grow their environmental and social brand, and they'll be able to attract and retain a new and loyal customer base. The proceeds of the membership are then used to fund the installation of solar on homes built or repaired by Austin Habitat for Humanity, providing these low-income families free electricity and the opportunity to spend those savings on other household necessities. Now, the key to the success of this community is engagement, and that's why we're building the One Planet Sol app. Members are going to be able to monitor in real time their community's impact, both the environmental impact and the social impact. We'll have profiles of the families that we're helping, and members will be able to identify and locate member businesses. Now, we're gearing up to launch in early 2018, and our goal for 2018 is a 1,000 member community supporting 20 Habitat families and collectively saving them $20,000 every single year. Now, this is an annual program, so we'll be able to help more families year after year. And as our membership base grows, we'll be able to help even more families. Now, as we grow, we're going to be pulling in millions of data points at 1 second resolution and pushing that out to our thousands and tens of thousands of members. Now, this allows us the opportunity to go from this old industry standard of once a month utility type billing engagement to something that allows for real-time feedback akin to the Fitbit. And so this provides us the opportunity to build new products that allow us to gamify solar. And with that, change the entire level of community engagement that we have currently right now. So where are we? We built a sophisticated backend system that's able to pull data from 6 homes and aggregate that data and push that to a web app at 1-second resolution. So I want you guys now to all pull out your phones, go to the oneplanetsoul.org website, and sign up to be invited to the launch. Thank you. So I think you guys still have a few more minutes to go to the website and sign up.
And I should note that the presenters have 7 minutes to present, and then we have 3 minutes of Q&A from this panel here. So that time will begin now.
So on the 1-second response time for the app, what does that like latency get you that a longer latency wouldn't? What does that specifically deliver for the end user of the app?
So I think we're pulling that in, and the exact latency we're not sure. We haven't implemented on the mobile app side yet, so we don't know. But we hope to be able to get in near real time at 1-second resolution, so that we'll be able to, from there, with that capability, be able to develop other products and features based off of that real time feedback.
But does that map to, do you think, better outcomes for modifying behavior?
No, exactly. So right now, when we think about solar, it's a good warm fuzzy, like, okay, solar saving the earth. We don't quite have that real-time feedback, both either on the production side or on the consumption side. And so once we're able to keep on pushing with the development, where we're able to pull solar data at that real time and be able to see the energy consumption that we have in each home at near real time, the flick of a light switch, turning on the microwave, we'll be able to see what sort of net energy a particular community or at a particular house, and then broader in particular communities. And that allows for this different type of engagement that the energy industry has never seen. This is something that has been very good in the fitness industry, for example, with Fitbit, but we haven't had that in the energy industry.
Scott, I think this is very noble, and I think it's a great. I was kind of interesting because I was driving over here today, and I was looking at all the lines in the gas station. There's no gas, and there's a real issue around energy, and when you don't have it, it's a real problem. And I think everybody should have the ability to have solar. My only real concern with your model is how really attracting members and how to get the members on board. What is in it for the members?
So on the member side, so there's a couple of things. So what we're doing here is coupling a local customer rewards program. So we have actually examples here of that. So for example, if you're in Austin, we have the Go Local program that started out over about a decade ago. They currently have over 500 businesses and over 10,000 members. What we're doing to that, and hopefully in partnership with some of these with them or other customer rewards program, is make this mission driven. And so the question is, rather than work on a commodity-based type of customer rewards from Go Local or from 5-Star or from Belly, we're providing this mission-driven part to those customer rewards. And the goal then is the hypothesis at this stage is that provides for a more sticky customer engagement process, which then local business would find much more compelling than the more commodity-based type customer rewards.
So is it like an affinity program where the stores or Whole Foods or whoever's participating, is we're able to give them coupons, credits.
Yeah, so so essentially these are discounts. So the member business that join will be, in addition, they'll be providing discounts and to these members, and they get access to this community of members that share the same values. So with the demographics these days, the consumers are starting to want to put their money with companies and products that share their same values. And so we've seen very good success with local programs, and the question now is, and what our goal is, to push that further on the energy realm, and that there is a strong benefit. And I think a lot of this has to do with engagement. And so the app facilitates the entire process that allows the members to be able to really see what their community's impact is on the energy side. Who are the families that we're helping out? How much money are they actually saving every single year? Because what we're doing is actually helping them, we're putting in money that is an investment. It's not just a one and done thing. This is a sustainable process. So like we provide the solar installation, year after year, they're going to be able to save about $1,000 per family every single year. But with a community type effort, we'll be able just to start to grow and help more and more families. Right now, a 5-year goal is about 10,000 membership days. I should be able to help up to about 500 families.
Thank you so much, Scott. Up next, we have Accelerating World's Mission Towards Zero Hunger, submitted by Nitin Vinesh Bhatti. The team is over here. The mobile app for produce order and delivery system between Feeding Texas and food banks, reducing their cycle time and money, helping feed more people. And the focus area is technology and health.
Good evening, one and all. I'm here to talk about Feeding Express and its mission towards accelerating the world's mission towards zero hunger. So every year, there are 40 million Americans go through food insecurity, not knowing where the next meal is going to come from, of which there are 14 million children. So what if I tell you it's not due to lack of food availability, but due to some inefficiencies in the food bank supply chain. So you see the graph here, you see there's 125 million surplus produce available every year in Texas, where for the food banks to order through Feeding Texas. But what's the problem right now? The issue is of these the software they use to order is usually given by Feeding America. It's called Tourist Matchmaker. It's very old, and it's only just web-based and very slow. So Feeding Texas moved to emails, which they say it's 5 times more easier than using the actual software. So what's the problem with email? Because of its emails, there is no live update, and most of the people who order produce are always on the move. They keep traveling because they go meet all different farmers and different vendors. So above all, Feeding Texas has just 2 people who coordinate 6 million pounds of food in a month. So they have to cater to all these 2 people who coordinate some food. So because of which there's food loss, because food doesn't reach people on time, so food gets waste. At the same time, that's why the low volumes, and because of low volumes, the cost of produce goes high. So another problem is the guidelines by Feeding America says that after 2 hours of publishing the availability report to regional food banks, after 2 hours and they can open it up to other states, because of which Texas loses around 1 million pounds of produce, which is equal to 25,000 meals a day. So this is a big problem, because basically we still have a huge meal gap in Texas. So the solution is this: a mobile app. It's like more of a interactive design, can be open in various platforms. So we give 5 benefits. One is ordering online really quick, just 5 clicks, less than 30 seconds you can place an order. And load optimization, so we can reduce the truck cost. We have address book, and you have ability to do push notifications and emails, and we're going to have data analysis. We're going to collect data continuously, and we're going to have live data analysis, having dashboards. So this is how the wireframe looks like. And this is a demo of the app we're going to show. Need permission? Oh. I don't know what this to watch. Okay, moving forward, the benefit is, so So we have major benefit is we're going to improve the volume from around 6 million pounds per month to 8 million pounds. It's like 25% increase in the number of poundage we could improve. And because of this, the cost of produce goes down. So we're improving the availability of high nutritious food with low cost. So the effects are cascading and the benefits are cascading because it helps health, it reduces the health insurance cost, and education, we're going to have more nutritious food through all the meal programs, so it will in turn improves education. And because of road optimization, we're going to reduce the cost by 30% of trucking cost. And we have feeding taxes, we're going to reduce the manpower by half. So we're going to end up saving 130 days in a year per person for them. And we're going to have analysis as well. It's not just me saying it, this is what Feeding Express or Feeding Texas emailed me saying the app would impact by saving time, saving money, and help them feed more people. And last month we went to the food bank conference which happened here in Austin, and Feeding Express got mentioned, it's not clear here, but Feeding Express got mentioned in one of the conferences there, but all 21 food banks were present. I got a chance to interact with every one of them. And the market potential is to begin with Texas, they have 21 food banks under Feeding Texas, and then from there moves on to Feeding Florida, Washington, Pennsylvania, and then Feeding America Network. Our eventual goal is to also cater to future market would be food pantries. There are 60,000 of them. That's our major goal. That's when we'll have even bigger impact. So this is the current model, subscription-based model. You can have each food bank per month. So basic version would have ordering, inventory, address book emails, and one truck load. It will be $40 per month per food bank. And we have additional functionalities would be 80, and other automation, PO, and all those things would be $120. So the best case, we end up earning $840 per month in Texas. Best case would be $1,680, and the strong case would be $2,500 per month. So, and as well as this is one of the money which comes from food banks, and Feeding Texas also started talking about the more food they give out, the more money they get from the government as incentive. So we're going to have talking about giving a percentage to us. As more produce, they can move, the more percentage of money would come to us. And currently the differentiation is that we have no competition as of now, and Feeding Texas is completely on board. They're the ones we discuss a lot with all the food banks as to the design and other aspects. And launch-wise, we're going to launch the first version of the app a couple of weeks from now, on September 18. We're going to pilot with 3 food banks, then to open it to all the food banks, and then we're going to additionally add version 2, version 3, and hopefully by end of this year we'll have Pan America. And there's the team, myself, Nitin, I worked as a management consultant for the food bank here in Austin, and Victor, he's just legal, and he works at Campbell Factory, and Edward, he's a software engineer from Intel. So with Feeding Express, we could help serve an additional 51,000 meals per day. With the help of City of Austin, we could take that up to 2.5 million meals per day. Together, we could accelerate the world's mission towards ending hunger. Thank you all very much.
Sorry, I'm trying not to hug. I can ask a lot of questions, so I'll try to keep it short. The data for the project, for the application itself, where's that coming from? Is it coming from the
Feeding Texas and food banks.
So they have to enter the data manually or scan it?
For now, begin with, they have to enter the data manually, but once we're going to have an Excel sheet, which they have currently, we're going to just auto-populate the figures.
And does this program provide that database for them?
Sorry?
Does this program provide that database for them?
Okay. The food banks, it allows them access to what is the searchable database for whatever food item they might need. That was lost with the demo.
Sorry. Look, the advanced networks here in Austin, how would that benefit this app as opposed to maybe other cities that have less connectivity? What would be the impact?
So the biggest impact would be the real-time availability and to be able to really coordinate the deliveries to the given food pantries, as well as the real advantage is going to come once everyone's online, and then you're going to need the high availability networks to pass the food.
can still do, we can also add, when there's a poor connectivity, we can also have SMS based like broadcasting information as well. We can text if they say they need a certain amount, they say I need 10 kgs of onions, we can automatically populate it into the Excel sheet or whatever. We can have that capability as well for low connectivity areas.
It won't be as high a touch point as like some of the other apps here, but it'll because we're building it too to be like take advantage of progressive web app styling and laser loading and all that good stuff. So it's going to be pretty easy to run, but high impact.
So is this utilizing a centralized database, or is it using something like a decentralized database or anything like blockchain or anything like that to secure the transactions?
It's all using a centralized database, using the Google servers. So we're not using any decentralized or blockchain technology.
And who runs that? Your company runs a centralized database, or is it on one of the?
No, it's just on some Google servers.
But I mean, you service it. You pay for that service.
No, we use the free version.
Okay.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest. What you're doing is probably really noble. I just had a hard time following when you were presenting. It's very hard to get up and talk to people, and especially in an environment like this. I've been there. And from a presenting perspective, you might want to consider slowing the presentation after you're speaking a little bit slower so that people can follow and let it sink in as you're presenting.
Yeah, that's always been the case. I can say that I'm going to be super fast out there, but I am working on it. I'm naturally a fast speaker, so I'm working on slowing down.
Okay.
Thank you all very much. And just a reminder, after the events, the projects and their representatives will be available in that back room to learn more in case you're curious. So we are going to continue on to our next project, Blocks Mob, submitted by Joseph Fisher and Sean Ball. The project is a student application development platform targeted at students and teams that promote STEM concepts and skills without requiring code, and the focus is technology and education. Sean.
Cool, thank you. Can everybody hear me okay? I don't need that. I think I've got my laptop. So, my name is Sean Ball. I'm co-founder of Blocks Mob. This company was created because myself and my co-founder's daughters both were going through a problem. They both kind of got to the end of the coding programs, were kind of bored by them. It's like, I'm done. And they came about to a mobile app idea. And I started working with my daughter on how to solve that problem. And it was just incredibly complex. You had to get an iOS programmer, you had to get an Android programmer, you had to get a graphic artist, you had to get a UX guy and a designer, and it just didn't need to be that hard. And in today's world, with IoT, with everything coming together, it may be an app mentality first today, but in 10 years' time, apps are going to be the lifeblood, right? They're going to be as ubiquitous as Excel and as PowerPoint, and giving the kids the tools to understand that and to create and shape their world around that, void of some of the plumbing that is required today. So we set about a path to kind of create, okay, how do we make this available to everybody, right? We wanted, even many coders can't create a mobile app. We wanted something that coders could create apps, STEM people, tinkerers, makers of all types. It's a huge maker movement, and we wanted to be able to tap into all of that, have an open, inclusive, and empowering platform so that anybody could build a mobile app. So that was a reasonably daunting task. We went out and raised some money, and the investors are like, why doesn't this exist? We don't believe that you can build it. And it wasn't easy, right? One of the things that we decided is we had to have iOS and Android programming together immediately. If you didn't have that, right, if a kid builds an app for his basketball team and only half of his friends can use it, it just doesn't work. So we worked hard on building that out. We've got some of the team here tonight, and spent a lot of time and money on all of that development. We got to a place where anybody can build a mobile app. In less than an hour, you can generally have your first app. It works on iOS and Android both, and there's no experience required to build or teach. So you can simply go to blocksmob.com and start building. We launched last November, and in that short period, we've had over 60,000 kids build a mobile app in 153 different countries. So we're super excited about that progress, and we're super excited to see all the cool things that the kids are building, right? They're building apps for their soccer team, for their thespian club. Teachers are building apps for syllabi, building apps to map out locations. One high school here in Austin crowdsourced the kids to build a mobile app for their freshman orientation camp. Right, so they were going to go to the market, have a freshman orientation app built that would have cost them $10,000, $20,000, who knows what, right? All of the specs and all of that timing. They said, look, we're going to have a bunch of kids build this, and we're going to celebrate the winner. So it's amazing seeing all the cool things that the kids build, and we really kind of focused on making the plumbing available so the kids can build interesting things, right? So we have the GPS system, we have the push notification system. We have all of those tools that are kind of mundane, and you can use those and leverage those without having to get caught up in syntax. So this is hugely important. As you know, STEM is growing. It's a requirement that's growing within our schools, but it's also an interest that the kids have. The kids have these mobile devices in their hands all the time, and they have the ability to control that. So when they see their background, their icons, their images, their functionality, their content, they get super excited about what that looks like. So in terms of where we are today, we're a software as a service, subscription-based model, $50 a year for an education license. That allows you to build all the mobile apps you want to build. You think about the cost of a domain name and some hosting and some email, that's relatively inexpensive. We work our rears off to try to stay inexpensive, but we also recognize that that's not always the case. So we partner with organizations to help bring that about and help make that more effective. For today, we're really starting to work more closely with schools. We've developed a series of tools for the schools to use, and we've got 4 high schools here in Austin that want to roll this out. So we already have a bunch of kids that build mobile apps in Austin using Blocksmob. But what we wanted to do was partner with these high schools and roll out mobile app building to those kids, and really have centers at these various high schools. So Austin High School's here tonight, Travis High School, Crockett High School, and the Ann Richards School. So we wanted a nice diverse mix of schools, and we really wanted to kind of say, look, let's take this to the next level. Everybody in this room can probably afford $50 a year for a mobile app. That's not always the case. So let's bring that to these kids and let's make that available to them. So that's been our primary use of funds for this request, to kind of take that to the next step. Hour of Code happens in December. Are people familiar with Hour of Code? So it's an incredible celebration of STEM and bringing people into coding. So it's a great opportunity to celebrate that. So our second funding request, in working with the teachers here in Austin on what ideas might be interesting, was to have a contest around that time frame that celebrates app building, have some categories, announce some winners. There's a great opportunity to continue to raise the visibility of what these kids are building. And then the tertiary funding request was around some teacher support tools, right? We're constantly developing out new tools. I talked to one teacher this week who the TEA requires a lot of things to be in paper and pencil, right? So we built a mobile app platform. That's not really the way we think about things, but if the TEA requires it, we're going to look into adding an export function so that we can export it into something that can be printed out and mailed off to the TEA. So that's what we're looking at from a use of funds. One last comment is this is just super easy to do. So I'll jump over here to the app builder. And I was thinking today, what I'm going to do for the presentation, right? Maybe I'll put the presentation into a mobile app or something. And then I saw the city of Austin announced a new shelter location, right? They're moving from the convention center. And I'm like, okay, how do we distribute information to all of those people coming through the shelter? And I don't see Lance here tonight, but maybe Stephen, you can help me. There's an opportunity, and Boy Scouts are building this for their troop. There's an opportunity to build an app that shares information in real time, right? So as you come into a shelter, rather than printing flyers and passing them out, posting them on boards, you can see, oh, well, I'm just going to put this here, and everybody has the app, and it gets updated, and you can see, oh, a new shelter location came on board. FEMA's going to be here at 1 o'clock. Whatever that is, it can be readily shared and updated from a communication specialist or somebody on site, which to me is the kind of the super cool thing about LocksMob, right? I don't need to know what they need at the shelter. If I can give them the tool, the people that know what they need can build it that easily. Everybody's building an app.
Very cool. Got a son that's 13.
Pardon me?
I got a son that's 13. He's a hacker.
Yep.
And he's literally a hacker. But this is something that would be great for middle school kids too.
Yep.
And so the cost model, your revenue model is $50 effectively a year.
Correct. So we've worked really hard to try to keep that at an affordable price point, but it's not always affordable, right? And when you're in a school environment, that adds up fast, right? There's a lot of pressures on schools. There's a lot of funding issues for schools. And so we're excited to try to make this more available and continue to find partners to do that.
So what is your team in place to keep adding modules? I heard you said it's you, and is it somebody else or?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a couple of engineers here. My head of marketing can even build mobile apps. My CTO is a parent-teacher conference tonight, so he's not here. So we've got a small team. We leverage a lot of college interns. They're close to our target age. We can get them coming right out of some classes that they know some of the code work that we need done. They're pretty excited to be getting their hands dirty. But I'm not sure if I answered your question.
No, that was it. I was just curious on the needs that you said you're building some modules for some of the teachers, and I was just curious. I was really curious on how do you determine the priority, but then who does the actual work?
Yeah. So I don't do the actual work. I just cause the actual problems. My engineers do the actual work. The product roadmap, and originally we thought commerce was going to be where it's at, and we brought the kids in and they started working on it. And they're like, no, I want chat systems, I want push notifications. That wasn't their word, but that's what they wanted, right? So we moved our product roadmap around to accommodate that. And we continue to, sorry.
Are you working with nonprofits as well, or what kind of
Yes,
pricing would
so
you have?
we've worked with your organization before. We did some summer camps with you guys. We work with Junior Achievement, Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. We love those community organizations. We think of ourselves as, this is app building for your community, whether your community is a classroom, whether your community is, a public housing community. We've worked with HUD. So, you can build pretty much anything you want to build. And the connectivity to that group, to that Girl Scout troop, is pretty cool.
I just interact with current app stores. So they make an app and they want to make it available to people. Is it only available through your site, or is it available through Google Play?
So we have something, so we give them a route to go to the app stores. If you go to the app store, you have to get a DUNS number. We can help you with that. There's more fees associated with that. So what we find is most of the kids don't want to wait. Shocking, most of the adults don't want to wait either. We've pre-approved all of this functionality with Apple and with Google so that there's no nefarious deeds, right? We know all of the code that's in there. That way, whatever the kid builds is within a specified set of parameters that allow them to access their app as soon as they build it, share their app as soon as they build it. But we do give them that pathway. It is more time consuming, all of the delays, and it is more costly. who owns it? So, that's a good question for my lawyers. We obviously own the code behind it, but we're building out commerce functionality, even though that wasn't our first priority. So, we try to give the builder control at every stage. Some people use us, 3-day startup, and some other people use us for prototyping, right? You could continue to stay on our platform. We're not a platform that's going to be a Salesforce enterprise level app business. That's just not the model that we've created. Most of our builders are sharing with a few hundred people.
All right, thank you. Cognitive Roadway, Nobot, Karnak, Lynn Riley's team. Kilroy Blockchain's Cognitive Roadway, Nobot, or Karnak, is a predictive analysis simulator for traffic pattern behavior, my favorite topic actually. Focus is technology and public safety.
Hello everybody, we are really excited to be here. Fellow citizens, neighbors and friends, civic leaders, and judges, thank you so much for having us here today. We are Karnak. I'm Kristen, this is Lynn, Karen and Macy. Macy and I, we do brand and design. It's our job to tell our story and to make sure everybody in the world understands why Karnak matters. Lynn and Karen, they're our developers. They're the brilliant masterminds behind our amazing product. But before we tell you about our product, we wanted to talk a bit about more who we are and why we do what we do. We're very much a purpose-driven company, and our purpose is very simple. We just want to leave the world better than we found it. So in order to do that, we started really getting involved with the community of Austin. We've been to countless meetups, forums, conferences. We went to the Smart Cities conference, met people from here, met people from all over the world. And the one thing that everybody's talking about, the issue that always rises to the top, is what our mayor, who we just saw speak in this building last week, he describes it in 3 words. Those words are traffic, traffic, and traffic. Who and how are we going to fix this problem? How much is it going to cost? And once we have that problem, is that solution that we put together the right solution for us? And if we can make solutions faster, that'd be great too. So that's where Karnak comes into play. And Karnak is a cognitive roadway Nobot.
Thank you, Kristen. With that, I'd like to introduce, I'm Karen Kilroy, and I'm a lead developer on Karnak. And I'd like to introduce Lynn Riley, who is going to show a demonstration. Okay, so we downloaded data from the, all right, we downloaded data from the Austin, Texas data website, data.austintexas.gov, and we downloaded traffic accident data, and because that data has longitude and latitude attached to it, we were able to map it. We were able to overlay a map of the data onto what you're seeing here, the satellite view. This is traffic accidents for 2015 and 2016, and you see as Karen zooms in on it, you see different colored dots. The dark blue colored dots are clusters of accidents, 2 or more, and as you zoom in, the resolution allows you to see the individual accidents, and each particular dot represents a different accident, a different case, and if you hover a cursor over each dot, you get to see the case ID, the year of the accident, and the hour in which the accident took place. So as you zoom out, you can see the different hotspots of accidents in Austin. And you can see the different densities are up and down the major thoroughfares, such as I-35. And this particular density map also shows Austin. It's a different way of looking at it. You can see it looks like a heat map, almost like an infrared map. Another way of looking at this is by month. We can look at a word cloud, and this is again accidents by month. You can also load it with the type of data that you might see on social media, so you can get a look at social media sentiment from people post on Twitter, for example, posting information about hospitals, weather, police. This is crashes by police sector in Austin. It's actually graphed month by month and then clustered by sector for each month. The next graph you see here are, we're going to go ahead and load. This is traffic fatalities with pedestrians. And you see, again, it's overlaid on a map of Austin. And here's the breakdown again by sector, by year, and clustered by sector. And these are the accidents by the hour of the day, and it's a 24-hour clock. And we're looking at it, and this is how it asks us for more information. Those of you who are used to using pivot tables on Excel might recognize this format. And here's an example of a simple pie chart. And you see that the number of pedestrian accidents went down in 2016 compared to 2015, excuse me. Karen's going to talk more about what you just saw in the demo.
Thank you very much, Lynn. So that is what we have built so far. That's our proof of concept. Karnak started as a spark of an idea, pardon the pun, at the US Ignite workshop that was held here last spring. I'll read you my idea I had in class. Develop a predictive analysis simulator for highway planning. So that was my idea. I was encouraged by my instructor, Bill McGuire. He's like, that's a great idea, you should do it. And so when we saw the city's Gigatech challenge come up, we were just thrilled. We're like, let's do it, let's do it. And so we did. And what Karnak is a cognitive roadway no-bot. And it starts, it'll do predictive analysis for traffic issues, but it'll also be a central point to aggregate all the massive amounts of data stream that the city is receiving now and that it's about to receive through Internet of Things objects and through things like self-driving vehicles, last mile delivery, bots. All those things are going to be sending data. And Karnak will be able to digest that data. And what Karnak will do, how many people remember the spreadsheet when it first came out? Go ahead, admit it. Who did a spreadsheet for the first time when they first came out and said, wow? Well, that's what Karnak will do for data, for these massive amounts of data. Instead of using a calculator and a pencil and paper like we used to, that's how much difference this will make from spreadsheets to a predictive analysis system like Karnak. And also, too, as Lynn mentioned, it's also a bridge for community data, weather data, any kind of data that you would like to tie in, historical data, current real-time data. And what our goal is to create a predictive analysis tool that embodies the expert knowledge that's already in the city. So we want to take the people who are in the city who understand these complex topics and help them to be able to keep their knowledge going. So I see we're out of time, and boy, that went fast. And we're already done, so we definitely can be up and running by December. And we need $19,000 to get the data analysis portion done. And this is our open source technology stack and our future direction. Thank you.
So is your customer the city traffic transportation department? Is that your customer?
Yes, sir.
So what's the actual predictive portion of this? I understand you might take streaming data in from IoT devices, so you might be able to map it in real time, but predictive implies something looking forward to the future. So
Yes.
Talk a little bit about that.
Well, in order for any system to become an expert, the very first step is it has to have a body of data that you know is accurate, upon which it's basing its expertise. So this is the foundation for artificial intelligence systems for cities, because the framework can learn. As you keep feeding it data, we can introduce other open source machine learning techniques, or even commercial machine learning techniques. Anything we want, because like I said, it's built on Apache Spark, and it's all open source, so we can integrate things. And over time, see, if someone comes in and says, I want to sell you an expert system that knows about your city, you know, they're probably not telling you the truth, because it takes time to learn. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Our next project, Farm to City, Ryan Pasca's team, enable Austinites to order fresh local produce online and then pick it up at the farmers market during relaxing weekend mornings. Thanks.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Yeah? Hopefully this is going to be short. Try not to go over time. Thanks everybody for being here. Farm to Nest is, well, first of all, my name is Ryan Pasca, and I'm kind of the project lead for this project. Farm to Nest really is an online farmers market. That's okay. The goal is to have an online system to connect consumers locally here in Austin with small-scale farmers that are growing fresh, local, organic, delicious food that we all love to eat, providing our bodies with the nutrients we need, right? Okay, looks like we have it working now. So as you can see up there, that's our website. I encourage everybody to check it out. It's in the early stages. Yeah, so like I said, there's really two sides to it. The small-scale farmers and then the local consumers, which is all of us here in Austin. And our goal is really to give the physical farmers market an online presence via a type of e-commerce platform, really simple, like we're all familiar with, like we use Amazon or online shopping type systems like that. And really the team, right now it's a small team, but we've had engagement from community sources in Austin, which has been extremely valuable. The project started at ATX Hack for Change earlier this year at St. Edward's University. Extremely awesome civic hackathon. Really encourage people to potentially get involved this coming year. I've also been going to Open Austin meetups, trying to engage as much as possible, and also talking to farmers and farmers markets. So it's really, the team I kind of see as being a community effort, bringing multiple stakeholders from Austin together. And on the accessibility and inclusion realm, just as an example of the SNAP program, if you're on the SNAP program, you can actually double your dollars at farmers markets. So really working with multiple organizations like that to try to get engagement and really allow anybody in Austin access to local farmers markets. And on the scalability side, really this could be expanded to any city that has farmers markets, not just Austin. Dallas has a huge farmers market system. I really envision this going beyond other cities as well. Hopefully Houston, I mean, I know they're having problems right now. It's thoughts with them, but yeah, hopefully scalable across the United States. And in terms of our use of funding, right now, really hoping to use funding to help us break even, cover things like cost of web hosting, as well as various internet tools that we're using to have our website up and running. And also hopefully hiring some interns at some point part-time, kind of getting engaged with the local universities on that regard. So what's next? Right now we really have a small website. It's not at the point where we have a marketplace that a farmer can go on and list their food by themselves. We have to actually do it for them. So our goal is to get to phase 2 of the project, which is going to be giving farmers that ability to get online, upload photos of their food, upload different types of information about their food and products, produce that they grow, so that it can sort of be farmer driven. And handling that online marketing for farmers, preventing them from having to worry about using all these types of online tools and stuff like that, making it easier for them. And that's really it. So thanks a lot for everybody's time. And questions from the judges again?
No question. So are you actually doing this, or is this something you're planning to do?
So right now, we don't have any user engagement yet. So we've talked to a lot of people, we have interest, we've sold the idea to people, but I don't have the website at a point that I'm comfortable onboarding customers and farmers yet.
So would you have to connect with each individual farmer, or would it somehow connect with the farmer's market?
So at the beginning, it would be individual farmers. I'd like to start with a few just here in Austin, really get them using it and comfortable using the app, and from there, potentially having a partnership with greater farmers markets, engaging them on that regard as well. Does that make sense, kind of? A little bit?
Who are the competitors in this space already? Who do you see you kind of competing against?
So there is a website called Local Harvest, and I coincidentally almost did the exact same thing. But getting on their website, I didn't see much engagement, and the founder's LinkedIn profile, it didn't exactly look like he was really working on it at this time. So I would potentially consider reaching out to him, maybe trying to partner up and sort of team up to get his project back up and running, or work on pushing something new out.
And for SNAP matching programs, often there's a database involved there. There's a project called Electronic Double Up Food Bucks, which helps digitize the sort of SNAP matching dollars.
Yeah.
Is there an output from this that could help feed those SNAP match databases as well? Or is there an API or an output that would be part of this?
At this point, there's not. That sounds really interesting, though, and I think I'd like to learn a little bit more about that. So maybe we can talk after this. Anybody else? All right, well, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Very cool, thank you. Joe Volunteer, Keeping Austin Weird and Much Kinder. Submitted by Chip Frank's team. Joe Volunteer helps humans spread kindness to each other, humans and sometimes animals and the environment, through an ingenious mobile app, and the focus is technology, education, and health. And Chip Franks is here.
Thank you. Howdy guys, thank you for coming out tonight. Judges, thank you for your time. Glad to tell you about this and very excited about it. Joe Volunteer, our aim is to spread kindness throughout the entire world. We're not real modest in that, and we're going to start it right here in Austin, Texas. And the way that we're going to do this is we use our app to connect worthwhile organizations, and you know them all, like Red Cross and Salvation Army, Habitat for Humanity, with good-hearted people who we call Joes, that are volunteers that want to help out with that. And this is how we make an impact, and this is exciting. It's a little bit different than what we've heard tonight, because usually folks will be in transportation, or they'll be in public safety or education or that type of thing. But what we do to make an impact is we help all of the organizations that are already out there making an impact and getting them more volunteers and more people and helping them magnify what they can do in the world with it. So we're really excited about that. And this app is a platform to bind them all. So for things like the hackathon or for solar power or things like that, we can actually get more volunteers to help causes like that, which is incredible, and it's a great way to magnify, again, the impact that's being done here. To give an example, right now, Meals on Wheels, they serve 3,000 meals a day in Austin, and that can help with transportation because those are 3,000 people that aren't out on the roads. Another example would be education. Austin Partners in Education, I know we have someone here that volunteers with that. They help at-risk youths in the schools with tutors and mentors to help out, and we can get more people for them to make an impact with education. Another example, this is actually my family here, my son and daughter. We can get more people out in the hospitals and the assisted living. And in fact, assisted living homes are where the idea for Joe Volunteer came about, because there were very lonely people out there that need someone to talk to. And the thing is, we don't have a supply problem of kind-hearted people, but we do have a distribution problem of knowing who needs help and when, and that's what we want to solve with this. Another thing, Hurricane Harvey, obviously in the news here. Right now, I just talked to a gentleman here, and he wanted to help out with Hurricane Harvey, like a lot of people do, but he didn't necessarily know where to go. And Joe Volunteer is going to be a one-stop shop for being able to help humans, which is fantastic. And we can get people into the American Red Cross, the Salvation Army, and something like this, people can go straight to it to be deployed to a public disaster area. So that could help with public safety. Right now, just in Austin, we are able to help 507 organizations just in Austin alone right now. And you can see some of the places in there. We have some STEM over here, volunteer healthcare clinics for health, driving seniors to help with the transportation. We can do a lot of good with this. Now, all of these organizations, they need people to care, and they need people to help, and they need people to volunteer. But there is a big problem with that, and that is the organizations are not getting enough help right now. In fact, we have polled a lot of organizations in Austin, and we found out that 87% of organizations here don't get enough help as it is. And Joe Volunteer is something that is going to help with that. Now, some of the reasons that people don't help out, now even if someone is a good-hearted person, the idea doesn't necessarily just come to them. They don't think, hey, I need to go out and help build a house for Habitat for Humanity this weekend. It's not an idea that usually interrupts you. The second reason people don't volunteer is that even if they want to help, they don't necessarily know where to start in doing it. Just like the people that want to help with the hurricane right now don't know where to go. And Joe Volunteer is going to solve that. And the way our app works, it's really neat. The first thing that we're going to have is push notifications. And I'm excited about this because everyone that signs up with an app And if they're looking to help the homeless or the elderly or the sick, they will be notified when an opportunity is near them and is available. So they'll be push notified, and again, they'll be reminded, hey, you can help if you'd like to. Another thing that we're doing is we got an API feed from Volunteer Match, which is incredible. And right now, just throughout the entire country, there's over 400,000 volunteer opportunities already, which are going to be mapped into our application. The last part, I'm kind of excited about this because this is the first time we're going to be able to crowdsource human kindness, and that is user opportunity input. And that means you can put in a volunteer opportunity from the app. So if you have a next door neighbor that's elderly that can't mow their own lawn, and you want that to be a volunteer opportunity for someone that's helping the elderly, you put it in and she's helped. It's exciting. Now at the Austin Smart City Roadmap, this is a business model that offers value to everybody, the underserved, the people that have phones. If you have a phone, you can use Joe Volunteer. And the government is helping to make this platform with a business partnership. What's great about that is just smart government and government that works. This is the team. The handsome guy on the left is Joe Polish, and he is a marketing master. He runs Genius Network and Piranha Marketing. And he also is a powerful influencer. He's one of the best, well-connected entrepreneurs in the entire country, and he pals around with people like Ariana Huffington and Tony Robbins and has a big platform. The guy on the right, that's me. And persistent, passionate, resourceful, not always humble. Now, our partnerships and just what we want to do is get together with folks like Chipotle, bring them more customers, and have them help us support this app. Now, traction right now, we've already raised almost $56,000 on our own. We have well over 1,100 Joes already in Central Texas, and the first version of the app is complete. So where we are, we've added the API from Volunteer Match. Now we are looking at putting in the filter, push notifications, and the user opportunities, and we will definitely be deployable by December of 2017, which we're excited about. Gigatechs can help us to get the money to actually finish the app. We're about 80% complete right now. It's functional, but this will help us actually make it really, really usable. It makes a big impact on everything. And the other cool thing is it's scalable to other cities fast. So 2 months to finish the app. We plan on deploying on Thanksgiving, which is a great time to help your human neighbor. And we will promote it like crazy through the new year in Austin. And again, it's a prototype for other cities. Folks, please help make an impact with Austin with Joe Volunteer. Thank you.
So this is great. It's great to see. But how do you differentiate yourself from services like Volunteer Match or other services sort of come out in the last 10 years that at least look to be trying to do similar things?
Absolutely. In fact, we want them to do well because we want people to go out and help. This is a mobile app, and Volunteer Match doesn't have anything that's like a mobile app. This can use information technology, your GPS, to know where you are, and it can notify you and tell you, hey, there's a homeless opportunity here for you to help out. Or like, for instance, with the users being able to put in the volunteer opportunities, that's what I'm excited about because that will allow us to crowdsource helping everybody. So if it's 100 degrees outside in August and on front steps and you see a lot of homeless folks that are thirsty, you could literally do a water drive from 8 to 10 tonight, and everyone that signed up to help the homeless will get a push notification that says, hey, if you can help out, we're doing this. That's something that can help out.
I have a few questions. I totally agree. I have a lot of friends, through this last weekend going, well, how do we help? Myself included. We get in a truck or get a boat and drive it down to Houston, all that kind of stuff. But I think this is very, very nice from a push notification perspective. How do you get around, qualifying volunteers from a security perspective? I was thinking about the grandma scenario where somebody comes take advantage, steal from her or whatnot. But
I guess in a way this would be like Craigslist on steroids to be able to do something like that. Well, one is the organizations we'll be able to put in the volunteer opportunities. But as we get people that put them in, that's going to be a crowd control type of thing. They're going to have to police it themselves, and we do plan on having a rating system. So you can put in a stars, and if someone, one of the things that we're planning on doing too is just making sure that someone logs in with Facebook, and we have a real person that we can actually kind of look at to make sure they're legit and they're on the up and up with it.
And then the other one was, how are you going to get the word out in terms of through sponsorships with local retail stores, companies, and also your monetization strategy? How are you going to stay in business?
Yeah. Well, getting the word out, we're going to have to do a lot of that on our own with public relations. And what's cool about it too is we've tied it into where when you volunteer or you do a volunteer act, you can post it on Facebook very easily. So your friends can see that you're volunteering, and they can also volunteer through that. And there's a link so they can go directly to Joe Volunteer, be able to join in. And in the future, we also plan on having a volunteer with friends type function. So you can get people together and go out and volunteer with your buddies on the weekend when you have time. And as far as staying in business, what we plan on doing is getting many companies in an affinity program. And like Chipotle is our example. Our Joes are good-hearted people, so they get to go to Chipotle, and Chipotle might give them a free drink and chips, something that's pretty low marginal cost. And they get that because they're Joes and they're good-hearted people. And Chipotle will actually give part of the proceeds back to us to be able to fund this and to be able to go. And they also get the halo effect of helping humanity through Joe Volunteer as well. And we plan on doing that with dozens and even hundreds of companies down the line. Thank you.
Yeah, I just have a question back on the security piece. So the volunteers, the good volunteers, would you store their information?
Now, I guess with that we will have. That's a good question. I have some privacy concerns with doing that, but we will actually have their information for the push notifications and them logging in. Either they log in through Facebook or their email. So we do have those. Yeah. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
All right, we're at the halfway mark. How's everyone feeling? Doing good? Don't forget there's food back there. Actually, I want to give a shout out to Melanie and Alex from the city team that helped get a lot of the food and stuff organized. If we could give them a round of applause. And there was also a team that helped put this event together. I was not a part of that team. That's probably why this is going really well. And that is Maria, Sarah Smith. Where's Happiness? Everyone raise their hand. Charles over there. Rondella, my boss, is floating around somewhere. So this was the team that really helped organize this event. So that was really a yeoman's effort, because as with everything, that was on top of their regular job. So I think that was a really good indication of the planning that went into this. So don't forget the food. Keep it going with the energy. And that is the update there. All right. We got the next project. Med Reconciliation Plus Incentives and Blockchain, submitted by Hector Torres team. So this one is I was kind of curious why you were standing there. Okay. Did I skip? I did. That was my error. I will own that. All right. I clearly need more coffee. Just-in-time VR training for AMBUS EMS personnel. Scott Smith's team. Large emergencies happen rarely. The EMS teams are distributed and must work together quickly. Just-in-time VR AMBUS retraining can help, and this focus is on education and public safety. Mr. Ted Lair.
Hello, I'm Ted Lair. I'm Scott's team. You've all seen images of Harvey. You've seen the pictures of Harvey. In some of those pictures, you might have seen large buses, ambulance buses. They're called ambuses. What you're seeing on the screen here is the inside of one. Several days before the Austin EMS team deployed to Harvey, they had a curriculum they used to prepare to drive the bus in those dangerous situations, to operate the technology on that bus. And that curriculum consisted of PowerPoints and PDFs. We think we can do something better. The project team that you'll meet in just a moment consists of 2 professors from Texas State. One is works on VR, virtual reality. The other is a user design expert. Keith Noble was supposed to be here, but he's in Houston now with his team on that bus. The other gentlemen are from the city of Austin, and we're the folks who, when this project succeeds, will help move it toward commercialization and productization endpoints. And I'm talking to the gentleman right in the back there when I say that. So we have Dr. Scott Smith from Texas State, Grayson. Keith, again, is in Houston, and there's us, the rest of us here. What you see here is the this is the AMBUS. This is what you might be seeing in those pictures there. And these are the description of what it's like. This is the current training. And while you're reading that, I want to have you think about what the ROI is on this. We have a market. We have a need. That's demonstrable. We have users. They can give us success criteria. We have the capacity in this team to deliver. And we have a platform that if you give us the seed money, we can take this to those endpoints, not just in Austin, not just in Texas, but we can take it nationwide and then the world. This is a product that will be useful by fire departments and EMS departments around the world. And now, I go to Scott. You're not wearing your tweed. You should be wearing tweed.
We could probably just end right there. Just in time, that has new meaning for me. 2 weeks ago, it had something else, and now having family in Houston that have been evacuated, it's completely different. To be able to train on in these environments, you have to potentially recreate disaster. That is a logistical nightmare for a lot of first responders. I remember talking to a chief of training for the fire department, and it was the equivalent of shutting down 5 to 6 major fire stations to burn a building. Virtual reality, we can recreate environments. We can manipulate environments. We can enhance human performance in those stressful environments. We can evaluate certain skill sets or target certain skill sets based on the environments in which we create. Oh, sorry. And as we said, Commander Noble's not here, and the unfortunate benefit of Harvey is that he's getting an enormous amount of data. He's already in a prototyping phase of kind of what we call our design process. He is experiencing deploying the AMBUS, the difficulties he's having doing so, what training scenarios he might want to recreate. He's in that process right now. Part of our process, and this is Grace in our user design. Yeah, go ahead.
Part of our design process is kind of pattern off of what IBM Design uses and some of the design groups use. We make sure that we observe, build, and evaluate, and this is a feedback loop. So we observe in the field the actual AMBUS operations and all of the technicians on the AMBUS to make sure that we're designing a product that actually is solving real problems that they have. We build using rapid prototyping techniques with very little programming. We'll build prototypes to then evaluate with those EMTs, and then over and over and over again until we find what our MVP, our minimum viable product, will be, and then go to development. So that saves us a lot of time. We get to evaluate multiple ideas before we burn a whole bunch of cash on development.
Right, and some of the things that we've been doing is doing 360 videos, identify certain aspects of the AMBUS and what particular training scenarios one might want to work on before getting into it. So it's basically curriculum development, testing at every stage. It's an iterative process, and getting feedback from the content experts, which would be Commander Noble in this case. And kind of some of the evaluation process that we would go through is, time on task, time to get ready, situational awareness. Can you perform a task when there is a flood, or if there is someone dying right next to you. We just developed a virtual environment for active shooter for school settings. I can tell you through going through it, having kids run out of a school, screaming and yelling, definitely deters my ability to concentrate on specific tasks that I might have if I was a police officer. Operational mistakes, reducing human error, and enhancing training confidence. And the whole purpose is to make the ambos more effective. When they're deployed in these situations, the whole purpose of them being there is to save lives. And the best way to do that is to be trained well and to reduce human error. There you go. And so what our team and what we've done at Texas State, we have a virtual reality system, a lab that we've developed over the last 2.5 years. We developed virtual environments and smartphone applications, and the whole purpose is to enhance human behavior. We've done and developed an addiction treatment. We are currently working on post-traumatic stress treatment for veterans. We've done smartphone apps for WIC mothers, and we've done active shooter training that we're starting up. And this is kind of some of the images of the stuff in the lab that we've worked on. Question?
Yeah, one thing we need to point out is that this training, an important part of it is that when the EMS folks are deployed, they're not in the middle of the disaster scenario. They're remote. They're either at their fire stations around Texas or maybe at home. So this virtual reality training has to be delivered remotely over high-speed connections. And this is where that part of this piece comes in. We have to deliver this over a high-speed network. Now we can go.
Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Oh, technology. Okay. So I have two quick questions for you. One is kind of how long does the actual training process take right now? Do you have on-site training? You've got all these different modules. How would this VR and this?
The one that we're creating?
Yep.
It would utilize the current curriculum that they have, and we would kind of mesh the two things, the technology with the curriculum, and evaluate what aspects of the curriculum are most important. So it would be in a developmental process. We need to better understand what they currently have and what they do and how that is infused with the virtual reality technology. Not all of the things that they train on might be important for virtual reality use. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. And then the other piece is that kind of cost-saving aspect. So you mentioned kind of the fire department has to shut down all these buildings, X, Y, Z. Do you have any estimates there on cost savings?
I know just from the conversations I've had with city planners, he stated it was the exact same cost that they, as doing South by Southwest or ACL, being deployed and controlling all of the environments there. But no like hard data on it yet. Yeah.
I'm very confident that it's orders of magnitude more expensive than doing this type of training. And this is repeatable. It's the kind of training where, we might target the hurricane at first, then we might target active shooting, then we might target tornadoes, we might target a lot of different scenarios, and that's inexpensive. It's not quite reality, but it's a lot closer and it's cheap.
No question, VR is there in terms of training people. You see, how much is it going to take to get this to market? And is it a SaaS application for cities, basically? Hence the high density that you need in terms of gigabit throughput. You need to be basically by the edge of the city with your application to deploy it for people to log in and basically do their training.
Right. Potentially it could be deployed at every fire station. In terms of development, we worked on a project this morning. It took us 8 hours to develop an environment to evaluate sexual aggression and risk factors. So we're very effective in terms of our prototyping process. We've gotten, over the last 3 years, been perfecting it. He just spent prototyping today at HEB for social anxiety for veterans. So in terms of how effective are we at developing, it's really effective.
Yeah.
And the really aspect of it is evaluating the individuals going through the process and how they respond compared to normal.
So from a prototype, then you go to MVP for get feedback.
Right.
But then how do you get it? How much is it going to cost to get the production, basically?
Yeah, I mean, you can talk about that.
Yeah, well, see, the short answer is I don't know. We're talking about curriculum delivered over perhaps a VR, cheap VR helmet or Google Glass or something like that. If it's centralized, we're talking about some cloud-based service that holds the curriculum, and then we're talking about a connection to the user. Let's say everybody has this at a fire station, even out at their homes at a fire station. We haven't priced that, and to be upfront, this funding is not going to get us to that point. This funding will set us up to get more funding to get to that point. But we'll certainly get far enough that we'll get successful enough, have a prototype, that when people see the value it brings, I'm not worried about folks thinking this is not worth investing in some more. It's not quite answering your question, but it's close.
I get it. Trying to get the prototype and MVP.
Right, and the university's invested in it as well. There'll be matching funds there and investment on that side of it. But we also want to make sure that what we're creating is actually reliable and a valid, training technique.
Right.
And a lot of times that is having another disaster occur to evaluate whether or not the individuals that receive the training perform much more so than they would without it. So it's a process.
Yeah. I just want to make clear. Make sure I'm clear on the network usage. So, are you rendering on a central cloud service and then streaming to a device locally, or are you just pushing content over there?
You could do both. You could potentially do both. I mean,
but which
one would we be working on? Would be pushing the content from. So actually, the individual would be in the AMBUS. Like, for instance, Commander Noble could have individuals in the AMBUS going down to Houston, training on and immersing themselves into a hurricane situation while going to the event. While during their downtime, a lot of wildfire individuals get injured or die because of the fatigue. And they get into a wildfire situation and they're fatigued and they make mistakes. So they could have a recall or kind of a reprogramming process of that individual so that they can be better equipped to respond under a certain stressful condition.
In Texas, does this type of training count towards state certification for?
Not yet, but it could.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Now we are going to go to reconciliation, incentives, and blockchain. Now, Hector Torres team. This is enhancing patient user design, improving population health, and physician and clinician work quality to reduce healthcare costs. The focus is, of course, health.
Thank you. I'm double fisting technology. I don't know if I can handle this. So, good evening. We're at Ula Health, Austin-based health tech startup. We focus on patient-centric mobile health apps that empower patient data ownership and sharing across healthcare providers, payers, and community partners. Okay, I lied. We're 50% of Ula Health. Our other two partners couldn't be here. They send their apologies. So suffice it to say, we have a lot of technology experience, software development experience, healthcare experience, and business operations management experience, City of Austin contract management experience. I'm Hector Torres, CEO. This is Dan Hedges. He's our brains behind the software. So this slide should convey the thought that aside from it being really busy, we've been doing this for a while. We've done a lot of homework. We have a lot of key stakeholders that have provided a lot of input and feedback. And we're ready. We know there's a need. We have 3 community clinics, 2 in Austin Travis County and 1 in Williamson County that are wanting us to pilot our MVP. We just need your financing, your funding, your support to make it happen. We're ready to go. And we can do so before the end of the year for sure. We have a focus on working from the bottom up, essentially. That's kind of our history. I'm a former community healthcare worker, and our operations CEO is a former community healthcare worker as well. So we have been in the community. We've worked with folks one-on-one. families and other folks. So, Dan.
All right, my name is Dan. I write software. For our MVP, we've tackled one problem, and that problem is called medication reconciliation. That means your doctor wants to know all the medications that you take, not just the ones that he prescribes you. So what we wanted to do was we wanted to give you an app that allows you to track your own medications, and then you share that data with your doctor. Your doctor wants you to get that right. With medication reconciliation successes, medical errors rates will come down. So why would you do that? Why would you share it with your doctor? Why would you go through the work of tracking it? And to do that, to incentivize you to keep good track, we've got a points and reward system, so that if you share your data with your doctor, you are rewarded. On top of that, a future direction is that we want to be able to handle the points and rewards and the data transfer using blockchain technology. This is our MVP. As you can see, you sign up. You've got one section on the right there. You see the medication list that you're generating. You've got a button to share it with your provider, and then in the middle you've got your home screen, and you've got gamification going on where you earn and redeem rewards you redeem your rewards.
And we're happy to demo our MVP later in the networking session. So the thing that I want to point out here, aside from some of the problems that we're solving, we're also solving some problems as a byproduct of what we're doing. So, interesting point I just read a few weeks ago. Hackers are no longer interested in your credit card information. They're more interested in your healthcare information. Credit cards go for maybe 15 cents to 75 cents per card. Healthcare records, anywhere between 10 and $100. And some people are saying maybe $1,000. And it's kind of scary when you think about it. Credit card information, USU, I love my bank, but they annoy me with all the messages, right? Did you buy this at Whole Foods? Did you buy this at Target? Yes, I bought it. Yes, I bought it. Stop. I can shut it down if it's fraudulent, right? Within a few minutes, maybe an hour. Healthcare records, it takes longer. Who's really watching that fraud detection? It's going to take days, weeks, months. Hackers can do a lot of damage in that time frame.
Okay, and when we talk about sharing of your healthcare data, we're talking about a lot of things. For our future directions, what we want to say is that we do have, on the left here, we have a lot of data sharing that is already going on. Now that's your medical record, and there are a lot of silence going on there, and that's very secure, but there is some data sharing going on over here. Now, there are other determinants of health, we call them social determinants of health, that determine how healthy you are, and those are things on the right. And you can see that there are things like data could be generated by a food pantry that might have consequences on your health, and it would be nice to have a view of that for your providers and for your traditional healthcare network over here. Also, what would be really nice is if you could have your healthcare record over here and somebody on your right that's giving you services could have a view into your healthcare record. Not your total healthcare record. They don't want your total healthcare record, but if you're a diabetic and you're also a customer of a food pantry, they might want to know just your diet specification. Okay?
Let's go continue. Actually, one thing I just want to point out real quick, because we have like 5 minutes left. Is it going back? It's not going back? There we go. So social determinants of health, just wanted to close the loop on something. The vast amount of data collected exists outside the medical health systems that can have a great impact on our lives, essentially. And so we're looking to put the patient at the very center of healthcare, along with some community healthcare workers to help guide them to ensure that we have user adoption, effective user adoption. Okay, forward. Okay, let me take you into the future now and how we integrate and leverage your gigabit network. So let's say Hector has blockchain on the brain, he can't sleep, it's 4 a.m., he's running on Ladybird Lake. A mile and a half in, I collapse. Smart contract, your sensor alerts EMS, EMT, ambulance is on its way. Let's say Dan is my EMT. He gets to me, and all I have is my phone. I got no ID. Because I have a smart contract on the Health app and on my phone, it automatically opens up and gives him all the information he needs so he can start diagnosing what's going on with me. He says, oh, I got to get him to the hospital. I get into the ambulance. Another trigger point on the smart contract tells the ambulance, that they need to contact my physician. Physician then gets connected via video to Dan, and automatically my physician gets $175 because my smart contract says, if I'm on the way to the hospital and I'm in an ambulance, contact my physician. I get to the hospital, and hopefully the ambulance gets there before my family and friends do, but my family and friends were notified because of those transactions that took place on the blockchain. So, like I said, we're ready to go. We just need a little bit of investment. We have clinics that are wanting us to implement this and scale. In fact, aside from us starting here in Austin, we want to start and grow in Austin, we were told, don't do it. Go to Mexico, go to some other country. There's less regulation. But I think we can get over that hurdle because of the Blockchain Innovation Summit that we put together last year that Google Fiber hosted. We brought a lot of blockchain expertise to the table, healthcare expertise to the table, and legal expertise to the table so we can understand what's in front of us. Thank you. Questions?
What infrastructure is necessary to activate the smart contract? So you couldn't just use simple GPS, I guess, to detect if it's in an ambulance. So how would the smart contract know you're in the ambulance?
We're leveraging your smart devices, your smart sensors that are dispersed throughout the city. I have a question for the panel, since there's a pause. If I understood correctly, I was reading about the Smart City Initiatives, the strategic plan. Is blockchain on the conversation from what I read? If it's not, please get that conversation going, because we're talking about converging and merging and creating an overlap between the network of information versus the network of value. Network of value is going to create more accessibility, inclusion. Okay, I'll give you an example. Pharmaceutical companies, what happens? They create a drug, they need to go to clinical trials, they find some patients consume these drugs. Let's say Hector gives up his weekend. At the end of the day, they find out, okay, these are the side effects that happened to Hector. And at the end of the day, I get money, maybe $2,500, $5,000, but that's a one-time shot. That's not sustainable. However, if we start using the blockchain, and love to put the city of Austin at the center of that, I don't control my data. I share with whomever I please when I want to, and we're looking to use that as a leverage point to really provide more scalability, sharing, access. I'm in control. I give that information to whom I please, and I get compensated for that. Questions?
I have a question. So you said you talked to some of the healthcare providers. They're interested in this. Have you talked to the large healthcare providers, or are you talking to some of the...
Both, small and large. So one community clinic is a clinic that has a footprint of 6 counties, and they see 250,000 patients a year. Small scale, a clinic in Williamson County that sees 6,000 patients a year. Another clinic, Austin only, they see about 11,000 patients a year.
The blockchain definitely is the equalizer in that.
More so than the internet.
Yeah.
Network of information is just...
Right, absolutely. So, but I'm still not getting how people are going to really see, okay, so I'm going to have control of my identity. I'm going to leverage this technology. And how are you going to market? Do you have a proof of concept? Are you using pilots?
Yep.
Monetization strategy?
Monetization is a little question mark, right? I think once we get our agreement in place with one or more of these clinics, we'll understand their business model, and then we'll be able to monetize that for ourselves, for the city, for the individual. I think that the distribution, you brought up distribution, we want to work with the community healthcare workers that know their community, that can help us understand those specific needs of the individual, the family, the community, and then shape our solution around those basic needs. That helps us with effective user adoption.
So how much money do you need to get going?
So this investment will get us to the last mile to finish out the blockchain connectivity. And we have some VCs that are interested, but we're trying to hold them off as much as we can to kind of bootstrap this and get this where we want it to go before we get in front of them. But there's interest from VCs.
right, thank you. The next project is My Home, submitted by Jerry Blackwell's team. My Home would motivate Austinites to complete daily civic tasks that will have a small impact in one home, but a large impact in the city. The focus is technology, education, clean energy, health, and public safety.
Hi, I'm Chad Singleton. I'm with the My Home team. So with My Home, what we're trying to do here is we really set out to think about what the city of the 21st century, the smart city, the integral app would be for that city and how the smart city would work. So the concept of My Home is really how we can mobilize citizens and communities to build a stronger community. And that's done through a series of tasks and rewards for those tasks that you do for your city, for your community, and build a stronger community within it. So, I mean, the way we go about the tasks is that you're prompted within different categories, primarily within energy, health, safety, education, to perform these tasks and get points back for those. And you have a leaderboard, so you can connect with friends and compete with friends for that, and then you get badges at certain points. And then there's sponsorship opportunities for companies within this to get their advertising out as a revenue source. So within the community, we think about the Internet of Things and AR and VR and cloud computing and all that within the gigabit internet technology that's come about in the last couple of years. And we really thought back to the original iPhone that came out 10 years ago. And if you think about that, the top selling apps 10 years ago were iBeer and the Koi Pond app. And we really don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into that. So we developed a very basic platform, a very simple platform that at first maybe doesn't fully utilize the gigabit internet speeds, but over time we can build up to that and evolve, and it's scalable that way. So maybe less connected cities can still use it and can scale up to that aspect. Oops. So this is our team. So we're a bit of outsiders from the developer community. We're a team of entrepreneurs. I'm an energy consultant myself, also an emergency physician from Breckenridge Hospital, and we kind of put our heads together of how we thought this would be an all-encompassing app and how this would work. And then we've also teamed with, we've talked to Rocksauce Studio about helping us with the development of the app. So our roadmap is we developed the idea earlier in this year. We've always had an idea for a deed-based app. And so we've submitted to you guys, and we're really grateful to be finalists here. And we're really hoping that we can push this to December and get this developed by the end of the year. So our main goals here are really to push forward out this platform for everybody to be engaged. And to also use different parts of the community, mobilize different parts of the community. What you've seen with Hurricane Harvey has been awful, and we really want to come up with a system with push notifications where you can see where you can help out, and a platform for the city to push out those notifications. So the basics of the app, to really get to the meat of it here, is really there's 5 categories within public safety, health, clean energy, education, and technology, and those will all have a series of tasks, and the tasks are broken out into 5 different categories. So you would have quizzes, you would have deeds that you could perform, there could be meetups that could be sponsored, data collection, so data entering about what you might do, and a mass communication platform for the city. So and these can all have a synergistic effect where, if you enter for the health component, you enter, you're certified in CPR, you could, in the event of an emergency, contact anybody who has entered that they're certified in CPR. That's one of many examples of how this can be used. And then you get points for each of those categories. You get points for putting in your data for your data sets. You get points for performing these tasks, for completing these quizzes. Another example would be flood readiness. For example, you could have an Allstate or an insurance company sponsor a flood preparedness quiz, and when you complete that quiz, you get the ad for Allstate, but then you get points for completing that quiz. So these are just some examples that we've laid forward of what those tasks could be. For public safety, just reporting emergencies via SMS or email. In the beginning, we're saying taking it pretty slow, and then you could, over time, scale up and integrate these pieces into the app more. Daily code and general safety quizzes, questionnaires around building codes that you could fill out and get points for. Within health, you get mass alerts from the city for health alerts, volunteer opportunities, reminders to donate blood, and as you complete those, you accumulate points over time. And the whole badge system that we had thought of too was that the badges would be each category specific, so as you accumulate more and more points, you earn more badges, and once you get to certain levels, you might be able to earn discounts if certain local businesses might want to give you a discount for certain badge holders. Or there could be sponsored badges where a given company wants to give a sponsored badge to a certain subset of people who have met certain achievements. On the education side, educational quizzes, workshops, that's where the meetups could really definitely come in handy, and you get points for attending those meetups. Clean energy, that's something early on. An idea that we have for this is, say you could have Philips sponsor a task for you to change out your light bulbs to LED light bulbs, and when they do so, we could direct them to Philips to buy those LED light bulbs to change out. That would be kind of an early stage, but hopefully later on we can maybe integrate it with Austin Energy with their smart thermostat program, so that you can actually accumulate for turning down your electricity on peak hours. Transportation, frequent users of the bus system of public transit, you get points for using public transit or for riding your bike. And this is something that if you took it out to full scale out, would be you could eventually get an AR platform where you could report potholes in the AR platform or things of the like within that category. But in the short term, we're thinking more around usage utilization of the public transport sector.
So in the case that you threw up before about requesting somebody who knows CPR in the community, so it has that level of real time. Obviously, there's a fast turnaround on that kind of volunteer requirement. So is there, are people registering with certifications if they have CPR certification beforehand? Or
that is the idea. To be completely honest with you, we're still working on in the very early stages of development, so we don't have a centralized data base yet. So, but that is the idea. And we're trying to work out the verification system of how you can verify that CPR. On a lot of the other pieces in terms of verification, to a certain extent, we don't really think that verification matters too much. If maybe there's a couple of cheaters out there in the system who are just gaming it for points. All they're getting is points. So as long as they're getting the sponsorship, we're getting the revenues for that. But if you can get about a 50% rate of those people who are actually doing things to get the points, then at least you're mobilizing some subset of the population.
And how do you envision networks playing a role in this? Would a higher speed network improve the service of this in any?
Yeah, so that's kind of what I was speaking to. Of right now, in the early stages, it would be a more basic and simple setup where most networks could handle it. But as we build out and we kind of adapt, and the idea is for it to evolve with new ideas and new technologies that come out with gigabit service. So whether that be really through AR or VR, or I think we're thinking more AR wise, the gigabit service could definitely help out in that aspect. But in the beginning stages, we're looking at it as a more basic platform.
The next project, the Path to Python, a guide for middle schoolers, submitted by Julia Lamorel's team. And this app is a free app that teaches middle schoolers Python literally without a teacher. Students can start, stop, and save practicing at their own pace. The focus is, of course, education.
Alright, so Kiwi Compute wants to have every kid have the opportunity to code. And so I'm Julia, and this is Marty, and today we're going to talk to you about how we can actually make that a reality in Austin and nationally. So this is an example of a platform that a kid would use when they're beginning to code. It's exciting, it's engaging, drag and drop, colorful, but when they actually start to write code at home or independently, this is the type of platform that exists for them. For adults, not really very kid-friendly, and it's a little confusing. So we need to bridge that gap to help kids learn code.
Yeah, and so that's how we came up with the idea for our application that we're proposing today. And so the vision for the app is a platform that lets a student who doesn't understand anything about coding go from zero knowledge to proficiency and an ability to write code in the real world. So this is the student dashboard. What will happen is the student will log in, and on the left-hand side, they will be able to see their lessons. So what's in progress, how far have they gotten, how long should a lesson take to complete. And on the right-hand side, the student will see the projects that they have in progress. So these are pieces of code that could be related to the lessons that the student is working on, or they could be independent pieces of code. So this is an example of a project. On the left-hand side, you have the student's code, and then on the right-hand side, you have the output of the code. This is what a lesson will look like. So on the left-hand side in the purple, you can see that we have instructions. So we have a lesson here about print statements, an explanation of what print statements are, how they work, and instructions for the student to use them. And so on the right-hand side, the student can take what they've learned, they can type the code, and then they can hit run and implement it. And when the student is ready to move on, they can click the next button at the bottom right-hand side of the screen and progress to the rest of the lesson. So the idea is to create a very sequential learning experience where the student can learn a concept, practice it, and implement it, and then move on. But we have different types of learners, and so as part of the app, we're going to integrate video content and other content types that allow students to learn about concepts in a variety of different mediums.
And the great part of this is that it eliminates a lot of barriers for kids to learn to code on their own. So it will be free to use and implementable right away for students, teachers, and also organizations that want to use it in their classrooms. And you don't have to have any prior coding experience because all the lessons are already online for you. And the best part, I think, is that you can use it from any computer as long as you have Wi-Fi, a modern browser, and high bandwidth internet. So a lot of the kids that we work with are in low-income schools. They don't have a computer at home, so they need to be able to start, stop, and save their programs from any computer. And to make the most impact possible, we're going to work with teachers that already work with these students. So we're going to train teachers on how to use this in their classrooms and in youth organizations. And so they know their students best, and they can make a lot larger of an impact than Marty and I could by just going out and doing this ourselves. And then the great thing is from there's a lot of other tools at the high school and college level for kids to continue this journey. So this is just the first step, and it continues from there.
So in terms of implementation, I'll be the project lead, and I will lead the software developers that we'll work with. And I'll spend the first month of development building the infrastructure of the app and laying out a plan for myself and the other developers. When we bring developers on board, we'll divide up the work and work to finish a working MVP. And from there, we will iterate based on feedback that we get from our own Kiwi classes that we teach right now and other sources.
And while Marty's doing that, I'm going to be working with the end users, so teachers and students, to make sure that it's the experience they want and need. And then once the MVP is in a good spot, we'll be demoing in our classes to see how kids are actually using it. And simultaneously, we'll be working with local organizations to develop a plan to actually roll this out and make it successful. And then ongoing, we'll continue iterating and updating based on feedback. Going to new cities, working with new organizations, and then also adding new features like the teacher dashboard and including a Spanish curriculum.
So, Gigatechs funding, we can support the team to build the app, get a working MVP going. We can get feedback from users, including our students and other users. And we can provide training to the partners that we have here in Austin to get teachers using the app. We can provide sort of ongoing maintenance and bug fixes and support. From there, we would seek additional funding. And that would allow us to develop new partnerships here in Austin to expand to other gigabit communities and make changes to the app that would be really useful. So improvements to curriculum, improvements to the user experience, and potentially new features. Beyond that, the app needs to be self-generating and generate some level of income. And some ways that might work are through other partnerships, through features such as content licensing for other learning and development platforms, or a curriculum marketplace that would allow someone to come onto the platform and build custom curriculum. Other options would be premium teaching features for schools and teachers that want to use the platform and want extra support.
In terms of growth, we have a two-part plan. So we're going to work at a local and national level. At a local level, Kiwi already teaches a lot of classes in organizations that have a wide reach in Austin. So Foundation Communities, Communities in Schools, Goodwill. We'll work with them to get this out and roll this out to their organizations. And they have such a wide reach in Austin that they can make a really large impact really quickly. And then we'll provide free teacher training and tools to help them be successful when actually implementing this in the classroom. And then at a national level, to reach new cities, we'll work with organizations that have offices in Austin, but are also national. And so we can work with them and work with their communities in these different cities to roll it out as quickly as possible. And we can provide video training, Skype, or work with them to make it as easy for them as possible, even remotely. And so with this plan, we feel like we can actually reach as many kids as possible with that gap of kids that aren't being reached now. And with that, we'll take any questions.
The Python VM, is that running in the browser or is that running on the server somewhere?
So that's running in a browser. One of the advantages of using a gigabit connection would be that you can do more advanced types of execution that could be done server side. And so that's kind of, I think, part of the vision is that we can start with something that's executed by the student's browser, and that's much faster, but it's a little bit more limited in terms of what they can do. And so we'd love to get to a point where we can use high bandwidth connections to execute code remotely and send the result back.
You had mentioned it'd be available on computers, but will you be able to run it on mobile or smartphones? So typically, we found that while kids all have phones, it's not really the best place to learn to code because that's not where programmers are actually coding. And we want to create an environment that is starting to get them to the point where they're actually programming. So we try to stay on the desktop as much as possible. So it would be primarily desktop.
What's your target age you're looking at?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So typically we work with middle schoolers just because that's the age when kids tend to lose interest live programming. And then from there, there's a lot more things available to them. And that's the age that we work with in our classes. So all of our curriculum, we've already tested, and we work with middle schoolers, so we know how to make the language a little easier for kids to understand and target that age specifically.
So you currently teach code?
Yeah, we teach mainly middle schoolers, and we teach Python. So we've learned some hard lessons about how students learn the program, and that curriculum is what we would implement for this app.
All right. We're almost to the finish line. Last but not least, we have Pen Pal Schools VR field trip to the USA. Joe Troyon's team. Pen Pal Schools connects students from around the world to learn together. This project will connect students in the US and abroad through VR. And the review committee is equipped with their examples there. And the focus is, of course, education. Joe.
Awesome. Thank everyone for staying out so late. This has been an amazing event. I know it's late, so I'll try to be on time. I'm thrilled to be back here in the Capital Factory. This is where I founded my company. This is where I met my co-founders. This is where I built my business, and it's awesome to be back here. We're Pen Pal Schools. We believe that learning is better together. We're going to start with a little thought experiment here. If your jobs are anything like mine, you probably send a lot of emails every day, right? So imagine for a minute that you never got to hit send on any of your emails. You just had a boss that came around at the end of the day and told you if they were any good or if they were bad. You'd probably quit your job, right? Sounds pretty miserable. Well, guess what? This is what we do to kids every single day, right? We have kids that are doing work just to be evaluated by their teachers. It's not authentic, it's not fun, it's not engaging, and if you're not engaged, you can't learn. So Pen Pal Schools gives kids a send button. So forget what you think about Pen Pal Schools as a pen pal company. We are a learning company that makes learning real and authentic and global. And we're solving a problem that's not just in classrooms here in Austin, but classrooms everywhere, looking for a way to make schoolwork less boring. So, because we've solved this problem that's so global, we're growing globally. So we're loading here. Fortunately, we've got pretty fast internet because there's a lot of data points. We are now one of the fastest growing education resources on the planet. We're growing virally in over 144 countries in all 50 states. Every blue dot here you see is a city or town using Pen Pal Schools already. Some of these dots represent hundreds of schools. So we're all across America, very deeply engaged, and of course, all around the world. So why is this happening? There's a few reasons that we're growing so virally. Let me just zoom out so you can see the whole thing again. There's a few reasons we're growing virally. One is because of accessibility, right? I'm going to do a little more showing than telling, so I'm going to put the mic down and do a little typing. I want you guys to see some things. So pardon me while I commit the cardinal sin of looking at the computer. Fast typing. So here we go. So this is one of our classrooms in Ghana. Rural Ghana, it's the Crossover Academy. If you look closely, you'll see they have just one computer. They get power once a week, internet once a week, and they've actually written down their messages in advance so they can quickly log on and log off to write to their pen pals. So we've built Pen Pal Schools to be accessible for everyone, right? And that's in our pricing as well. We give it away for free to low-income schools. Right? So accessibility is why it's growing everywhere, and the second is because we're not just connecting kids to chat, we're connecting them to learn. And let me show you how with the demo. So it's super simple. Teachers go to penpalschools.com. They can read all about it and join for free. Right? We offer it free for teachers everywhere. And we connect students. I don't know if you're in education, you've probably heard of project-based learning. It's all the rage, connecting kids to work in teams, to build projects, not just to memorize, right? So this is collaborative, global project-based learning. We can connect your students to learn with kids around the world about cultures, about immigration, about meteorology. They can study Spanish with pen pals in Spain or Latin America. They can discuss climate change with pen pals in China or Africa. The VR field trip to Pakistan we'll be taking you on today, so I'll skip over that one for now. We've got science, we've got math, we've got Chinese. We even have an awesome new project on fake news, where kids learn to distinguish between real and fake news. A few adults I know could use that one as well. Our new robotics project is excellent. We're building new projects all the time. The key here is the engagement, right? You can have your kids in your class talking amongst your class and with your teachers about Mandela or Mahatma Gandhi, or you can connect them with pen pals in India and South Africa to talk about these leaders and see how they light up, see how they get engaged, and see how they learn, right? So we're going to take a close look at the VR field trip to Pakistan. Luckily for our judges, my colleague Rick Home here has got them set up to actually take this virtual reality tour of Pakistan. We were invited by the Pakistani government, along with the city of Austin and the delegation that went last year. Rick and I went and filmed this project in Pakistan. While the judges watched this in an immersion virtual reality, I'll show how it's accessible even just through a desktop or a laptop computer. You can do it with a phone and look around. So these guys are going to get set up. I'm going to go over here and demo the project. And all of this that you're going to do, you're going to be touring Pakistan with Pakistani pen pals, right? So here's our online lesson, and we're going to jump ahead to daily life. This is a 6-week project, so we're going into daily life, and the students learn by reading and sharing and discussing with their pen pals around the world about life in Pakistan, starting with this video that the judges are watching now, and you can watch as well.
Welcome to Lahore. With over 5 million people, Lahore is one of Pakistan's largest cities. Like many other cities around the world, the day begins with the morning commute. Take a moment to explore the sights and sounds. Here at the John McDonald School, class is about to begin.
Sorry, a little technical difficulty. I guess we need gigabit in here. So if you can watch this in virtual reality, you can actually look around and experience it in a way that's super immersive, as these guys are doing now.
Most students will start their day studying with their homeroom teacher. Sounds like it's time for recess. Badminton and ping pong are among the most popular sports here in Pakistan. Back in class, students review fractions and decimals with Ms. Shabana, the mathematics specialist.
There are finite numbers in decimal part, so it is known as terminating decimal fraction. Got it? Yes.
When the school day ends, some students enjoy sports with friends.
Let me just end by saying, let me get his attention here. So let me just end by saying that's the virtual reality field trip to Pakistan that we filmed last year with a grant from Gigabit, right? We won the grant. We went and filmed that. Rick and I, he's one of the best virtual reality producers you'll find anywhere. He's right here in Austin. If we win this grant, we're creating a virtual reality field trip across the USA, right? We have it scheduled. We have it storyboarded. This will get done if we win the grant. What this will do is will help to restore America's image abroad with kids around the world. We have huge demand from our classes around the world. When we market this overseas, it's learn about America, practice English with native speakers in America. So the VR field trip to across the United States will be for kids all over the world to learn about America, about our great culture and history, and not what they're seeing in the news right now. And meanwhile, it'll be an opportunity for students here in America to be ambassadors, to represent our country. We've already done work, and we have an agreement in place with Kansas City Public Schools, which is another one of the Gigabit cities, and schools here across America that are raring to go, excited to be ambassadors for this VR field trip. So thanks for your consideration. Let's do some questions.
So is there a multi-user component of this that, I know we saw the video now, but are there people interacting live in a collaborative environment with this?
Right, so let me talk a bit about how the whole pen pal matching thing works. So every student gets not one, but 3 different pen pals from around the world. So if you're a student here in Austin in your class, your teacher signs up for the VR field trip to Pakistan, you're going to get at least one pen pal in Pakistan probably, because we partnered with the All Pakistani Private Schools Federation that has over 2 million students, and we have a lot of meetings going on with schools over there all the time. So the student might get one pen pal in Pakistan, say that 5 times fast, might get one pen pal in India, and might get one in South Africa. And the kid sitting next to her could get a pen pal in Mexico, and a pen pal in Sweden, and a pen pal in Russia, right? So it's a global connection where in one class of 30 kids, you could have pen pals in 60, 70, 90 different countries, right? The students, that's a lot of different time zones, so it is not live streaming. The way that it works is the students will do the virtual reality experience that you just saw, and then they will collaborate through the chat with their pen pals. So we take that excitement of virtual reality, the excitement of the global connection, and we funnel it into learning. We say, okay, now read all about life in Pakistan, right? And collaborate with your pen pals on it. As you collaborate, you're developing your reading comprehension skills to dive into the lesson. You're building your writing skills to support your claims with evidence that you learned in the video and through the lesson. Social and emotional skills, which is increasingly important in schools, learning how to build empathy and understanding with your pen pals from around the world, and digital literacy, as you learn how to navigate online environments and collaborate. All those skills in one tight package, and the global connection and the virtual reality is the spark and excitement that gets the kids to dive in the material.
Who creates your curriculum, and how will you decide what to show in the US?
So we have a curriculum development team, a few former teachers that we've hired, and we also work with partners. So for example, the civil rights project that we built there is with Via Africa, the largest publisher in South Africa. Time for Kids, the kids' version of Time magazine, they built one on protecting the planet. Tomorrow I have 2 meetings that I'm super excited about. One is with the Southern Poverty Law Center. You guys may know them. They're one of the leaders in terms of getting kids and adults talking about race and talking about Black Lives Matter and all that. We're building an excellent Race in America project, and a meeting with the Malala Fund tomorrow as well. They do a lot in terms of, in promoting girls' education everywhere. They are helping us to expand this in Pakistan. So we work with partners that help to create curriculum. We do it ourselves, and then we also work with teachers and partner schools that help as well.
Other funding? Have you guys raised money?
Yes, so we've raised $1.25 million in our seed round. That's all going towards the core product. We don't spend money on curriculum, right? So that's going towards the team that's developing new technology. We're building a teacher network, etc. This funding is for virtual reality is expensive to produce, right? We've got to travel around, we've got to film, and the biggest thing is the production. And we don't just take a Samsung, off-the-shelf camera and go. Rick has his own equipment that's higher quality. It's more immersive for the students, and higher immersion means more engagement and more learning, right? So we do have that funding from the investors, and also no one's asked about our business model, but we give it away for free for teachers. Once your school hits 5 teachers, then we ask for a school license. So it's kind of a land and expand strategy. Josh Bayer came up with that idea, actually, so you got to give credit to him. But we do give it away for free to low-income schools. And yes, any other questions? The gigabit technology, by the way, no one asked, is essential because we film in such high quality for the virtual reality with a custom rig. The gigabit helps us to provide a more immersive experience. As you saw, you can't stream a high-quality video without good internet. Now, you can reduce the quality so that our schools everywhere can do it, and we sell these headsets and give them away for free, but the gigabit enables, obviously, a much better experience. You had a question. Sorry, Scott. Oh, perfect. All right. Thanks very much.
All right, that was the last presentation. I want to thank everyone for staying late and viewing all of the presentations. The review committee won't be rendering a decision tonight because we want them to have time to deliberate, have an opportunity to develop some consensus around the recommendations. Also with the lens of what did we see as far as the theme tonight, being inclusive. That is an extremely important element with regard to Austin's involvement in this initiative. And this is a priority for the city as we are really experiencing some challenges that we all know are in front of us. And this is something that these proposals hopefully begin that conversation to bring technology into that so that we can really start to provide these opportunities to different populations that may not necessarily have the experience right now. And that is something that the city is working towards, and you being here also helps provide that exposure, that awareness, that opportunity to learn. So again, if you want to stay and learn more from those project owners, that is a really good thing because that really keeps this conversation going. There's a Twitter of Gigatechs ATX that you can follow. Obviously, we'll be releasing the award announcements as the committee, no pressure, renders their decision. So this is something that we are very excited about, and to be able to keep this conversation going, because this is one element of a larger strategy. The city's draft Smart City Strategic Roadmap, the city's digital inclusion strategic plan, all of these things are helping us to really provide for technology innovation, provide for technology equity, and being able to really unite with the private sector, the technologists, the entrepreneurs, and that is really what we are doing at the city, is to really hold that center, be the coordinators, be the collaborators, and really help continue to convene and support these conversations. So thank you for staying, and I look forward to continuing this conversation. Thank you.
Yeah, well, so I teach, and I think one thing my classes are is the technology.
So for this, you have to walk
Solidarity.
This mountain twist, to begin. Styrofoam MCs, keep coming in. Dirty and staying tight, couldn't use it with the fans. These business love deep, maybe down a trance, picking up speed. When I wake up in the morning, I sit for miles and miles and miles. When I sleep in these days, oh Lord, there she goes, only in dreams. She's only in dreams. Well, my love, we've been here before. Don't let me through this again. We try everything under the sun. Now I'm trying to wake up from this. I'm trying to wake up from it. All we ever do is all we ever knew.
remember, you might be able to feed them data. They're in Flint. It's an electronic double food box. It's an electronic version of temperature juice app, and it's based on the output of food bank inventory. So if your app feeds a food bank and their app draws from a food bank inventory, you might be complementary. Just look them up. I mean, if there's no synergy, don't worry about it. Just let you know it's so I'm still interested. So the food bank itself, a lot of people don't often keep their database up to date. Right? Like there's some challenges there about keeping data active.
No, you use a collaboration system, and most of them execution profile has the latest version of it.
Okay.
Version of it. Okay. So it takes 2 days for them to fix it ups and downs. In that aspect,
Alright, great, that makes sense. I didn't know the bridge. And so the vendors need to
this old train breaks down, then I can take a walk around, see what there is to see. Time is just a melody with all the people in the street walking fast as the feet can take them. I just roll through town, and though my windows got a view, every frame I look through seems to have no concern for now. So for now, I need this old train to break down. Oh, please just let me please break down. This engine screams out loud, saying we gonna crawl westbound. So I don't even make a sound, 'cause it's gonna scream me when I leave this town. And all the people in the street, they'll never get to me. These tracks will bend somehow, and I got no time that I got to get to where I don't need to be. So I need this nothing if you got no control of the thoughts in your mind that you kept in your note. You don't know nothing, but you don't need to know. The wisdom's in the trees, not the glass windows. You can't stop wishing if you don't let go. The things that you find that you lose and you know. You keep on rolling, put the moment on